If you read the book, it doesn't mean it changes your life if you don't apply these tools. Why would I dedicate just lifetimes to doing that with the promise maybe it's going to happen or maybe not? I came to realizations that it's a great experience that requires me to somehow give it to the world. Even if the world will not take it, at least it's there and available.
Stop limiting yourself to the box. There is no box. And as soon as you realize that, anything becomes possible.
Ego likes to overcomplicate.
In today's episode, you are going to hear from James Stark all about transcending the ego so that you can finally discover who you really are and what you came here to do. Let's dive in. Welcome to Resonance, the podcast for high performers and entrepreneurs who want to do life, work, and success differently. I am your host, Viktoria Levenberg, and I'm obsessed with efficiency, productivity, and planning in a way that harnesses your energy and your natural rhythms while keeping you in alignment and integrity. Because I have figured out that lasting success is not about the hustle. It is about being in resonance. Let's begin. Okay, before we begin, I've got a few questions for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is really low and 10 is really high, how fulfilled are you with your life, really? Be honest with me. When you really look at everything around you, what you're doing day in, day out, the people, the surroundings, how fulfilling is it on a deep soul level? And how connected to your purpose are you? And if the answers are low, that is totally okay. This is no judgment here, right? This is a safe space. And you see, unfortunately, most people are sleepwalking through their lives, so busy in this entertainment of our day-to-day world that they don't even pause for a moment to ask themselves these bigger questions. And that is for a big reason. That is because they are often stuck in our material 3D plane, this 3D reality that we, yes, all find ourselves in. However, you have a choice. You have a choice on whether you continue to stay stuck and be puppeteered by your ego monkey mind, or you have the choice to expand your consciousness, become aware of what is perhaps invisible to the naked eye, and notice that you too have the power to create your own reality. And so today you are going to hear from James Stark, who is one of my teachers. He's someone I learned so much from. I would argue that learning from him and many other teachers at that particular time in my life has been a big catalyst into some of the profound shifts and transformations that I saw in my reality. And he comes with over a decade of experience in this work. This is not even talking about lived experience, right? Because I know we glorify like achievements and things. And yes, those things are important, like these days, anyone can take a 3-month course and call themselves an expert. But he is truly an expert who has dedicated a big portion of his life to emotional intelligence. He studied Dr. David Hawkins' work profoundly and deeply. The expansions of consciousness, the letting go method, the Course in Miracles. There's so much that he has lived and embodied and truly worked on transcending the ego to meet the self. By the end of this episode, you will have clarity on whether you, like many of us on planet Earth, myself included sometimes, are also being puppeteered by your ego monkey mind. And you will also have a strategy and a next step forward. That's exactly what James unpacks, because then you can finally actually become the architect of your reality rather than just falling into the defaults that society and past experiences have conditioned you to believe are possible. Stop limiting yourself to the box. There is no box. And as soon as you realize that, anything becomes possible. Let's dive in. Welcome, James. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for this and grateful because we have worked together closely for a long time. And it's also been a long time. since we've worked together. So I'm sure a lot has changed. And before we dive into a lot of that, for our listeners, I would love if you could introduce yourself, share a little bit of your story and what brought you here today.
So I dedicated past decade of my life to helping people, to heal people, to guide them to back to the true selves with capital S, to help them to transcend different negative states of consciousness, uh, subconscious beliefs that no longer serve them, uh, teaching emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, created a few things here and there. Last, I think 2 years ago, I finished, no, it's a year ago, I finished my book. And I feel that this chapter has come to quite an interesting end. So where I am right now is in the transition, where I feel like I have accomplished a great deal in that direction. But I'm not fully sure where my spirit is leading me at the moment. So right now, my inner work that I deeply returned to is to let go of any beliefs about myself that I built for the past 9-12 years. Specifically, who am I, all of these labels, what other people wanted see me, or the way they perceive me through certain things that I've been doing. So that's what I've been working on quite a lot for the past year. And I have reached a certain stage where right now I'm like, I have to let go of all the beliefs, even about the work that I've been doing, about how things work, emotions, not emotions, what people do with their lives, what are the purposes, and all of that is just coming to a point where I want to be pure connection to the source. So that's where I am right now. So it's been quite an interesting journey for the past year specifically.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds quite profound. And it's so interesting that you mentioned this. And you work with cyclical rhythms and yantras and astrology as well. And it's, in our collective consciousness right now, we're in this liminal space between the letting go of these old structures and beliefs and past identities and welcoming in the new, right? Like 2025 was a 9-year, 2026 is a 1 year. And just even hearing you share that you're having the same experience as I'm having, as so many other people are having, is really deeply profound. And I want to acknowledge that the past work that you have done is so valuable. And while that might be something that you are letting go of, I would definitely love for you to share some of the tidbits here and there, because I believe that there's a lot of people who need to hear what you had to share if you're open to it. And I also would love your insights on, what some of that inner work that you've been uncovering and the beliefs that you've been letting go of are. So what feels right to start for you? Do you want to start with the past or kind of this present and this new chapter? Where do you get a sense of direction?
I guess to describe a little bit what led me to where I am right now would be a bit more wise.
Yeah.
Because, if I start speaking about things that I'm experiencing and what I'm doing, people think I lost my mind. Probably.
Not here,
But,
we're very open-minded in this community.
But it looks like that. I mean, it's from the side. If someone who doesn't really know what's going on, like have not been doing any spiritual work or have not been like doing deeper, shadow work, going deeper into the experiences that most people don't even know exist. For most people, that look weird, and you're gonna look like you're losing your mind, which is true. because it's beyond the mind, beyond the linear mind. It's more going back into your heart. And this path is quite challenging because the mind has a very strong grasp. But to get the idea how I came to that is that more than a decade ago, I came to a realization that what I've been doing before in my life had no longer lost all the meaning, in a way that I was just basically doing what most people do, like the main goal is making more money and to get the success that the world kind of tell you is, like have a house, family, whatever, travel,
Yeah.
have money, and like feel safe, secure, and then retire, and then eventually die. But to me, I realized it very early that's not what I want. And the way like the way the world work, most of the world work is based on consumerism and achievement. And this just created such a deep emptiness within me. So I started to do my work. So I started to go deeper, and just like let's say like 12, 15 years ago, we didn't have access to such knowledge and such information as we have right now. Like it was extremely difficult to find really good people who will help you with the guidance. Other than that, you need to go to India, but it's one thing. But if you start asking questions how to adapt it into the Western world, it was quite a challenge. So hence you get into this, like Alan Watts and all of these pioneers who've been bringing certain things. But those is just mental knowledge. If you read a book, it doesn't mean it changes your life if you don't apply these tools.
Exactly.
So kind of having these philosophies in your head is good, but it doesn't help you iota, it doesn't change anything. So to me, it became the question, and how can I practically use what really practical tools available? Right, breath work didn't exist like the way it exists now. We had like yogic masters, like pranayama techniques.
Yeah.
But even in yogic tradition, they say you have to practice all life, and maybe then you will have some shift, or maybe not, and maybe you will have to spend many lifetimes to reach a shift. That's what they say. And to me, that was not an option. So to me, it was like, it's not, it just sounds weird. Like, why would I dedicate just lifetimes to doing that with the promise maybe it's going to happen or maybe not? Like, that sounds a bit, kind of elusive. And and the direction where we're going with that was very unclear. So I started to see, like, is there any roadmap to this inner work? So what we do, and that's when I'm like, actually that was 2011. I remember very well. I found works of David Hawkins. This is what was 1 year before he passed away, and I got so fascinated, and it just clicked so much in my head what he introduced to people, specifically the map of consciousness, the roadmap for the spiritual work and transformation, that I actually reached out to them, to Susie, his wife, and I was like, oh, I really want to get to know how to do that. Like, I want to get certified by whatever you do. And she replied that he's not in condition. He's already spending time kind of mostly in bed and just, resting. And at the same time, they never certified people. What she said to me is like, you have to read the books and then apply those tools in your life. And that's when the real work started, because David was the first teacher in my life who actually gave me practical tools that I could apply to my life. And that was really interesting, because that invited a lot of challenges. where
Mm-hmm.
I can see how many people struggle with, is because you start to take full accountability for your life, for your emotions, for your thoughts, and everything that you have are the consequences of the past choices, and on and on and on. So
Mm-hmm.
that was like uh, the deeper work from that. For David, I got to know A Course in Miracles that I decided to go deeper into.
Mm-hmm.
Like for people who don't know what it is, it's one of the, I think one of the most profound and life-changing courses in general. It took me to accomplish a course just to give you understanding, because most people, most of the time, what is advertised is like master whatever in 30 days, or like 7
Mm-hmm.
days, blah blah blah. You know, like, or
Yeah.
14 days breath work, become a master of breath work.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was always like, I understand people want to have something quick, but it just to break the illusions down, it's not going to happen so fast.
Yeah.
The course in miracles is like, it's 365 lessons.
Mm-hmm.
That first time that I finished it, the course, it took me 17 months of everyday hard work, literally every day. Like, I got so devoted to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, after a year of everyday work doing that, um, that course, I saw such a big shift happened to me, that I was like, wow, everyone should do that. This is just incredible. Like, it's so powerful. Um, and then I repeat this course a few years after. For the second time, it took me, I think, 15 months to accomplish. But in general, that became a big change. So while doing the course, at some point of time, after the first round I finished, that's where I started I had started to like, and I feel people who done something similar, maybe in different reality, they reach certain level of experience. We want naturally to share with others. She's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, this is something so epic. If you really want to be where I am, like, then this is such a great state. That's what you do. Just follow those steps, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where you will be. And that's when I started to go through that healing modalities. How can I help people? You know, doing a lot of subconscious work, because that's ultimately that or what is discovered is that subconsciously all of these beliefs, trapped emotions, the stories we hold from childhood, mostly from past lives as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's what creates or um, generate the reality around us.
Yes.
Um, and through slowly, step by step, to bring in those things deeper from subconscious mind into the reality, and then working on that, I started to see the transitions people have, and like, you can call it a miracle, but in reality it's just the transformation. The old traumas that people might had for years, and with
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, just with releasing emotion, things would shift, and
Yeah.
that the healing would come. Like, suddenly the injury is not there anymore. And the more you notice these things, the more you realize how powerful it is. And it was my
Mm.
main motivation. I was like, wow, I really want to start helping people. Through that, I also came to deep intelligence about my emotions, different states of consciousness, and how to navigate them. So
Mm-hmm.
using map of consciousness, I expanded my work, and I started to create a map of emotions that will help me actually to, when I speak to someone who's not aware, to show them this modality and say, hey, if you learn that, and then you understand what actually influencing you at any present moment, and you know how to let go of this certain story or like attachment to that emotion, that's when you will have incredible shifts. And that was like the main thing that was like a decade of my work with emotional intelligence,
Mm.
working with subconscious mind. At some point of time, I also was studying herbs, how to heal the body through herbs, through natural
Mm-hmm.
remedies, and also some body work that I was doing with people to help them to release
Mm.
certain traumas. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of like body, soul, and like our spirit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was going through quite a challenging time in my life, and I came to realizations that whatever I done, um, I have to put it into something that people can, if they want, can get, because it's a great experience that requires uh, me to somehow give it to the world, even if the world will not take it or is
Yeah.
not ready yet to understand. At least it's there and available.
Yes.
And that's why I started to write a book, like
Mm-hmm.
in a way that, like, how would I, when I was at the stage of my life and I was looking for the answers, how would it help me if I would find such a book? So I just
Mm-hmm.
condensed and put together, um, in the best possible way I could, the knowledge that I get from the experience of like decade working with people, and like, and how you actually start applying those tools practically in your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
And this book is like, uh, basically integration 101. It's like whatever you do, you have to integrate through these tools, because if you just, again, right, just read a book and
Mm-hmm.
you don't integrate certain things in your life, certain knowledge in your life, it's
Yes.
not going to change anything. Yeah, I also created, for my work, I created emotional intelligence cards that help you to work with your subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
They really work quite powerfully, because it's the same as like a tarot cards, or any other cards.
Mm-hmm.
They enhanced with certain intentions behind, um, and all the intentions I was putting just based on love unconditionally
Mm-hmm.
towards people. So like the main goal was never to make it a business or like something that have to sell. The main
Yeah.
goal was to give a tool,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was the intention that is actually in those cards. And it's interesting because when you in such creation and you such flow and things come out, and like I didn't know what was going to happen, what to expect. I
Mm-hmm.
was just like making it happen. And then when it happened, I started to offer people like, hey, let's read your subconscious mind, what's going on. And we
Yeah.
open in the cards, and it's just like, it's like you literally see the map of what's going on in someone's life very
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm still impressed even myself. I'm like, wow, they really work. Interesting.
Yeah.
But again, I was working on kind of doing marketing around it and wanted to spread it, on
Mm-hmm.
like allowing people to have more access to that. But I didn't feel a big resonance, um, because most people don't really understand the power of
Yeah.
what I'm sharing. And I understand it's not easy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe to get it, because because it requires for people to look honestly inside and say, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have this habit, I am this, I lie to myself, I lie to others, I manipulate, kind of. It requires to be fully honest, and requires to
Yeah.
take accountability, which is very challenging for people these days.
Mm-hmm.
And also it requires to put some work, not just a quick fix
Yeah.
that we notice these days, unfortunately, due to the like short span of attention.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, like, then I finished the book. It was such a big release from my mental field that,
Mm.
like, it's so interesting. I recommend people who've been doing things for many 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 years, something that they kind of become expert in that. When
Mm-hmm.
you put so many hours into things, just write a book about that. How can
Yeah.
you give this experience to others? It just helps to, I cannot explain it, but a decluttering of the mind, that it's no
Uh-huh.
longer mine. It just becomes available to others. And I don't feel it's just like so much information, just such a big
Wow.
release.
Uh-huh.
Really amazing experience to to structure that in your head and put it out, and then it's not there
Yeah.
anymore. It's in that
It's there in a
tangible,
tangible.
intangible thing, you know. It's not
Yeah.
anymore like I have to explain something. It's already there. It's very
Yeah.
beautiful.
And it's like you can have someone read your book and then almost be, on a similar wavelength as you because they've already had some of the preliminary teachings that you've spent a decade or more absorbing, right?
Yeah,
And as someone
it's
who
like
yeah, you go.
saving time. It's like, you know, learning from mistakes from your parents, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same idea. Like, why would you waste? Because I spent so much time, and universe provided me this time. It said,
Hmm.
"Here, James, sit down, do the work," and I was
Hmm.
doing that like for years. Most people don't have years to sit and explore what I had to explore, and
Hmm.
hence this is such a big gift, and someone, you know, kind of accomplished that and gifted. And it's so interesting. Like I feel sometimes upset because when I noticed how younger generation, they mostly don't read books,
Mm.
like at least what I have communication with.
Hmm.
It makes me feel sometimes like I'm losing hope in a sense, because
Hmm.
just give you the idea. Um, the other day it was like someone was like around in the early 20s,
Hmm.
and we spoke about I was sharing about the certain or herbs to take and like certain detox to make to help the liver
Mm.
to cleanse,
Hmm.
and we talked about like because of the after COVID situation, etc. And then it was a woman, and then she said, um, but I think what you offer here is not correct. I'm like, why do you say so? And she sends me a reel from Instagram that AI voice dictates something and say, you know, that it's a conspiracy theory that someone marketed this and this herb and it's not healthy. And she said, yeah, because he said so. It is truth, you know. And I'm like,
Hmm.
are you serious right now?
Yeah. The word that comes to mind right away, and David, Dr. Hawkins is so potent in that discernment. Discernment is, as you say, I feel I resonate with what you're saying, and I really hear what you're, sharing around the oracle, which I love, by the way. I think it's such an incredible piece of work, and I've got a copy of your book, and have worked with you for a long time. It's even if society at large might not be resonating with it yet. That's the caveat. It's the yet, because a lot of people, especially you're an Aquarius, right? In your zodiac sign. So you are the way shower. You are the pack leader. You are the first to go and do the things that most people are afraid of or unwilling to do. And then people follow in your footsteps, but they will follow when they're ready. And we don't know when that is, but I do have still hope in our future generations. And I genuinely believe that's part of why we're here, is to kind of help create this new earth and expand consciousness as a whole.
And it's a collective, I know, like it's a collective consciousness that we put our effort into. If I
Mm-hmm.
transcended it, that I know someone, it's, you know, like that's how it works, right? It's like a beehive. If
Mm-hmm.
one bee figured out something, suddenly everyone will know eventually, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there is a water right there because one bee figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that whatever we put the work, even if it's not visible in this present moment, I know that slowly people are awakening, and then
Mm-hmm.
they already don't have to do that much work. They already kind of intuitively start to know, because you and me, we put effort before.
Yeah.
And that's I hope like that's really how it's going to happen. But at
Mm.
the same time, there is such a big separation. Like
Mm-hmm.
the gap is getting very strong between those people who are kind of
Yeah.
willing to, like, you know, to grow, evolve, because
Mm-hmm.
evolution, it's not about material things. It's actually about this growth inside, like spiritual evolution. And
Mm.
those who doesn't want to do anything, for like they are going another direction, they don't even want to listen or interested in what you say.
Yeah.
And you know, in my personal observations, this gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Um,
Same. Same. And I don't know about you, but I'm noticing definitely people who are like picking things up who previously were potentially really closed off and like really in their ego, really in their limiting beliefs, all of a sudden starting to, as you say, like wake up and see things differently. And then that other gap, I don't know about you, but I'm also seeing a lot of people pass. And I know there's this, and I don't know if you want to talk to this, sort of the change that's sort of in our community spoken about in 2027 around kind of this almost separation between these two worlds. But I do genuinely start to see this sort of tangent coming. And I'd be curious if you're also experiencing that in your reality.
Yeah, so this is the topic that comes with this new my removing the identity that I was doing for many years, because I felt that I had to do that. It's like this. So you're a good student. Let's say there is like then let's imagine there is some kind of God. People call it higher self, universe, whatever. Like, but let's use the word God. It's easier. So there is God, and we all children. Some of the children are really doing good, like with the tools and with kind of channeling the energy. So those who understand that, they have to kind of take responsibility and teach others who are actually not good in the classroom. So you're gonna, hey, do this and this.
Yeah.
But eventually, right? Like you graduate from the school, you said they give you diploma, you're like done, and then you go into this new level, right? We're not gonna talk about like university or something. It's more about now you're in a world where you're free to do anything. You're free to be anything. And that's, to me, resonates a lot with what described in the Bible, when Yeshua was going through his path. At some point, he came to freedom from the karmic cycle, where he accomplished the work. And that's in the Bible. So the devil came and started to tempt him. It's temptations. Oh, now you can be anything. You can be a successful businessman because you know how energies work. If you keep your mind positive, you will manifest the new kingdom for yourself, or you can be this, and those are, to me, like this world is amazing, but there are so many temptations around that you have to kind of still hold the space, and still in this moment surrendering to the kind of higher power, to the will of higher power. So okay, if those are temptations, but I don't really know if this is my path, because it's so not easy to see. Even for me, after so many years, it's so not easy to see if that's the direction, because there are so many misleading directions. I learned that I only listen to my intuition and my heart, how it feels. If it doesn't resonate, it just doesn't resonate. Like, I don't do that. And that's what brought me to the point where kind of I feel like I accomplished this part, where I had to help as many people as I could. And I know there are many people like myself who also been doing that for a long time, not as a business, but as a pure intention that they really wanted to help. I want to make a distinction between that, because when I started doing that like 12 years ago, we didn't have not to this degree that it's a business. Like it became now very commercialized.
Yes.
Now it's become about building funnel, marketing, returning client.
Oh my gosh, that is my biggest pet peeve about the industry. You should not have a client need to return unless it's for community, right?
Like, no, but exactly. I am a healer. I don't want to be returning clients. So as a business model, I'm very unsuccessful. Like it's not successful business model. But that's what created so much challenges for the past few years, because I started to notice people who took only 2 months of studying, and then now suddenly they're healers and teachers or shamans, whatever, and guiding people like, oh, you're gonna see spirits, and I show you the medicine on this, and I'm like, wow, this is getting so dangerous, because it's a really serious things. It's not. I always say people don't take it lightly. It's very big consequences if you do it with the wrong people. Like it's important. And this commercializing for me, like, wow, it's going in not in a healthy direction.
Yeah.
So like I really don't want to compete with others. I don't want to go around and say, hey, you better buy my services because I'm better. Like I don't want to do that. But at the same time, my struggle is if I don't show up, because of all of this noise, people not many people see me. Like,
yes.
of course, I trust the process, and it's always been like that. The right people always come. But we also live in a world where you have to pay this and that, like for a living and rent and this.
Yeah.
And it's getting challenge. Like, and that's I also have to surrender. I'm like, okay, I surrender because I don't want to play that entertainment and that business game out of my pure intentions to help people. I really didn't want this to become a business. Of course, book. I made a book. I printed it. If you buy it, it's great because it's an energy exchange. It's amazing.
Yes.
But at the same time, how can I refuse? Let's say someone coming to me and they really need help, but they cannot afford what I would charge. You know, like, and then I say, of course, like, whatever you can afford, let's do that. So it's from people who some of the friends I have, they are very deep in entrepreneurship. They doing business, and yourself, as consumer-based economy is always on returning client and increasing the return on investment and here we are coming to my point, my crisis, where like I really don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get involved into this, the way it works, the way the world wants me to do that.
Yeah.
And I just started to let go, just fully surrendering. And I'm like, okay, so let's see where it will lead me. So it's kind of really experiment where it will lead me. And I started to remove this identity that who am I really beyond this, beyond teaching, beyond writing, beyond helping people, beyond my my work, my integrations, my spiritual experience. Because ego is so subtle and so smart, it always with us.
Yes.
And
even when you are higher on the map of consciousness, right? Like what I'm hearing you say is like right now you've had like an exponential surge. And I vividly remember in David's teachings and in your teaching is like, the ego doesn't stop at courage. If anything, the ego gets trickier the higher up the map you go because it's sneaky. It's
getting more advanced with you. It's like the stronger you are, the stronger the ego will be. And that's where you need really, like, that's where all the tools that I learned, that's where it's really powerful to have them. But I always remind even myself, like, everything is a tool. It's a tool, like, because it's like a breath work. Now there is a popular, I don't know if it's from in your location, they have this right now, but they've been doing so much marketing around it. It's called 9D breath work, if you heard about it.
I've heard about it, yes. But I don't think it's made its way to New Zealand just yet.
Yeah, so I know these people, I know the team who've been doing it, and I know for them it's pure commercial idea, right?
It looked very commercial, yeah.
It is. They are great businessmen. They wanna spread it and market it very well. And I had a story with them because when I was going through quite challenging time, I came to speak. I know like the big guy there. I spoke to him. We've been kind of in a friendship zone. And I said, listen, I'm kind of going through quite a challenge. Like, I've been doing things by myself for a long time. And I showed him the tools that I made. Like, look, this is like something that's so powerful. There are so many people healed from that. But I need support of, like, let's partner up. I'm happy to share 50% whatever you can offer to expand it. Because you are great at doing business. And in his idea, he told me, I don't want to do that because it's not kind of it's not a return, like return in clients, you know,
It's
it's not a good
scalable.
business. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
scalable. Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really scalable. Like, I don't want to do that. And that's, to me, it was like, whoa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, but he was like, he's meditating like 20 hours a day, you know, kind of.
Mm.
That's why I
But
like it's
therein comes the discernment, you know? It's like, well,
exactly.
how much of that is the facade and almost the ego of an identity and attachment that's in line with like that business versus actual true spirit guidance, right? That's really interesting that you say
Yeah.
that.
So what I
Yeah.
wanted to share about the breath work, right? So every, like, for
Mm.
them is like, if you're not feeling well, come back to us and listen
Hmm.
again to this guidance, you
Yeah.
know. While to me is like, here's the tool, you can do it anytime you want, and any
Hmm.
present moment, free in your life.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
pay, because everything is a tool. It's a tool. Meditation. I have another example. It's just so interesting, like, because he'd been deeply into yoga,
Hmm.
and specifically into Kundalini yoga, and he has his practice where you have to wake up exactly at 4:30
Hmm.
specifically, and do like 3 hours every morning. He has to do things,
Hmm.
and we had this conversation, and it's like, it's a tool. Like, where you want to go with that, and that's where the beauty of map of consciousness is. Like, okay,
Hmm.
you're using this, good, it's your practice.
Hmm.
I have no judgment. Whatever works for you, perfect. But where are you going with that, and why are you doing
Hmm.
this practice? Because you want to
Hmm.
reach what state? Let's
Hmm.
say, like, and he doesn't even know. He has, like, he think there's some kind of idea of enlightenment and liberation where, I don't know, you're gonna be like angel suddenly, and like things gonna open up, which is completely unreal.
Mm.
But that's what he is thinking about that.
Hmm.
And if he doesn't do his practice, he is just worse than people who doesn't even do any spiritual work.
Yeah. And there, the attachment. Right? Like, thank you for saying that, because I've been practicing. One of my spiritual teachers, she's a tantric yogi. So, kind of in this, not in the neo tantra sense of the world, like the sexual part, but more like, the yogis that didn't go the traditional Brahmin route, but were like the rebels that were just householder yogis, and it's passed down through Christopher Wallace. And anyway, so she teaches a practice also that is called uchara, and it's this similar like emotional release practice that she did for 1,000 days, right? Like in yoga they say, okay, master a practice to truly master it and to teach it. The more you embody it, just like with your work, 10 years, the more you live the practice, the more powerful the transmission when you share it with others. And so that kept her motivated for a really long time. And once she hit this magical 1,000, her spiritual teacher, Christopher Wallace, said, so what do you think's going to happen if you don't show up for a day? Do you think your spiritual journey's over? Like, just because you're not doing the practice? Like, no, it's so then her journey and her challenge became releasing her attachment from this practice, which is so interesting. Like you say, like right now, it seems like there's a real big attachment to that. And I think we all have those, but yeah, it's sneaky, sneaky ego. It's always just one tiny little step ahead of us, and we've got to pull it out of the way and make sure it's not
Yeah,
puppeteering us.
yeah, absolutely. That was my. I
Mm.
started doing that. I had a very profound, like, I had experience with, for the first time in my life, the the DMT experience I had,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I think, 4 years ago. That's when it started to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was also like, because I listen to what other people say. They basically like fly to other dimensions, speak to whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
deities, aliens.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like, I was like, wow, that's something that I want to try, and I was looking for the right person to guide me for that, and it came to my life, and I didn't experience nothing. Like, it was literally, I was in the same state as I would usually reach for meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But there, I just, only thing that it came to me, it asked me, like, there is a voice. What else do you want to know? Why are you still looking for answers?
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know. It's just, and I started to realize that this is what ego wants, to
Mm-hmm.
learn more,
Yeah.
more knowledge, more
Mm-hmm.
this.
More tools.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it becoming it, because now ego is so boasted, because like, whoa, I
Mm-hmm.
know so much. I know so much better than other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I really don't know, but I think it became a habit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Attachment to like knowing, going for information, studying, practicing, and like this. And it's just, I said, wow, that's such a good question. I really don't need to know anything. It's like I have to be, and there wasn't anything on this set. Just be. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. And that was the entire journey for me. Like that, after all of those expectations that's gonna see aliens or other things. But it was very profound, because then I realized, oh, my next growth would be is to release the attachment to
Yeah.
what I know, believe I know, because it's
Mm-hmm.
all linear thinking, and the
Mm-hmm.
real spirituality is non-linear, is beyond thinking.
If you're enjoying this episode, you will love my free newsletter, Flourish Weekly. It is an email that you actually want to read, and you will be the first to hear about new offerings, events, and upcoming episodes of Resonance. The link will be in the show notes below, and you can also sign up through my website, viktorialevenberg.com, or by heading to the link in my bio on Instagram at Viktoria Levenberg. Now, let's get back to the episode. Mm-hmm.
And we cannot reach that unless we release that mind
Yes.
attachment and go into the heart.
Mm.
And that's what, like, I started to apply 4 years ago, more and more and more and more, and it came right now to a point that I am. Like, when people
Yes.
ask me, what do you do? I cannot answer the question.
Yeah.
Like, I am. I just cannot explain. Like,
Mhm.
my mom, she cannot understand what I do. She doesn't really get it. Like, no
Mhm.
matter how hard I try, and I don't want to put myself into
A box.
box, and that's what
Mhm.
social media wants, because it's all about
Yeah.
niche. Find your niche and
Mhm.
kind of
And
solve the
serve.
problem,
Yeah.
sell your service, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like, I don't want to be niched.
Mm.
I like to be wide, but
Mhm.
that's another interesting challenge in that.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned you're on this precipice and with energetically what's going on. As you said, you might not have the clarity on the answer yet, but your trust in yourself and in God and in everything is so powerful that it will come at the right time. And it's so interesting that you say that, because I had a similar obviously nowhere near as advanced in my spiritual practice as yourself, but we're meeting ourselves where we are, right? And I had a really similar experience where I noticed I had this really big attachment to like this identity of like health coach and yoga teacher and this and all this knowledge, and I can help people and I can help them heal and stress. And then I realized, you see, the knowing that I had where for you want to help everyone. I have this knowing with a capital K, like you said, self with a capital S. I know with a capital K who I am here to serve. And it came through that the best way to serve these people isn't through the healing modalities that I just spent the last 5 years acquiring. It's actually through what I already know and the gifts that I was given coming into this world just by being me. And like through these last few weeks, I'm obviously integrating the two, because I get to now create this beautiful synergy between the divine masculine structures that I've been so familiar into and the divine feminine healing that I have had the privilege of learning. So it's kind of bringing this into a sacred union. And yet in the last few weeks, there was a real ego death of like removing the titles, from my profile. It's just like, who are you? I'm just Viktoria Levenberg. I'm not even going to call myself anything. I'm just, here I am. This is what I do. This is who I help. And it sounds like you're on a quite a similar trajectory, which is humbling and empowering at the same time, because isn't that just the soul profound truth that we are simply here to be who we are, to deliver the
Absolutely,
gifts we came with?
absolutely. That's I think that's the ultimate truth. Um, but it's, you know, it's also a big challenge. But first of all, it's important so we don't compare, you know, whatever. It's not someone is more advanced or another is less, as you say.
It's just different. It's just different.
Yeah, it's just different, different experiences, just different life stories. It's more about the more you wake up to that, the more you start to see the truth around, and you see how, you know, what people call matrix and all of it as brainwashing is so built around moving away as much possible, moving away us from this understanding that we just have to be here. And there was the entire idea of the world was actually to provide that experience here, you know, just to be, because that's when people feel the most aligned and the most alive is when they are somewhere in with nature, in a state of actually this being, where you know, you don't have to, like, you don't look what's the next meeting, you're just there, you're having this experience, and this is where ultimately, like, perfect experience that we meant to be. And then, you know, things started to come and this and then, and now, like, so many distractions all around. So that's what leads us away from from that state of being.
Yes, it's so simple, but it's not easy. I think this is the challenge, is people confuse simplicity with ease. And I remember, you know, it's like when you taught us the letting go method, like your ALIM method also that you developed, it is so profound, but the ego brain will dilute it and think, oh, it's not complicated enough, because we glorify complexity. We glorify, you know, again, we like really hard things. The harder I work, the more I get. And in true honesty, it's like actually the hardest work, again, like one of my teachers says, the most advanced yogi is the yogi that can be in child's pose for 1 hour. It's not the one that can do a handstand, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Simplicity is always the key, and that's always the main marker for the truth. The simpler things are, the more they're really closer to the truth. The more complicated, if you open something and it's so complicated to get, don't do that. It's gonna make things really complicated. Ego likes to overcomplicate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm so curious, you know, whether if someone listening to what you have to share and is kind of resonating, but is kind of a little bit confused, like, okay, they're talking about this ego. Who is this ego, and what do I do? You know, like, if someone's a complete beginner in this phase and not even aware of the hold that their ego monkey mind has over them, what would you advise them? Where would you advise them to start?
Let's first understand what it is actually. But most people don't really get it, don't really grasp it, because for them it's more like when it's being selfish, that means ego. So from my understanding, my experience, and the way I compare is we have animal nature and kind of like spiritual nature in us. Not everyone, but people who will be listening to you probably will have it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I filtered out the NPCs,
let's say
you know?
like this. There's also two different things that people say: soul and the spirit. And when you ask what is the difference, most people actually don't really know, because it's very difficult to understand. But to me, that's what I identified. Soul is naturally belong to kind of animal kingdom. That's what it's been evolving through this physicality, through animals. That's our survival mechanisms. That's all of that's our physical needs. And the spirit is something that's kind of divine in us. And so soul kind of this is what evolution, that's what evolves in this reality, like this soul, because spirit is already know everything. It doesn't need any evolution. It's already complete, profound, etc. But soul is this animal nature. That's what evolving. And a very good example is in the movie, like in the book, but also in the movie, the Dune.
Yes.
This Bene Gesserit women, when she got this young man, I forgot his name already, um, to test him. She asked him to put a hand into the box where suddenly there was like a strongest pain. And then he kind of sustained it. He could control it without running away. And she said, "Oh, you actually pass because you are human. If you were not, as an animal, you would cut off your hand and run away, because the survival instinct would kick in, and then you would just follow purely instincts like an animal." So to me, it's a very good example that ego is this nature. And when you evolve, you start to transcend this animal nature, and you start to kind of master it. So you control your emotion, your thoughts, your instincts. You only allow it to work when you need it. So that would be the difference. So the ego is that animal part in us, in the raw form. So hence when we say ego, that's the animal survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Which has the right to exist, but should not control us. And that's the main difference. Yeah. Are you controlled by your sexual desires, or whatever desires for fame, your pride? Are you controlled by your anger? Are you controlled by your judgments, which is like a very big thing today? Are you controlled by your shame from the childhood, or not? So if you are controlled by this, on the map of consciousness, those are like the lowest states, the 8 lowest states of consciousness. If those are controlling you, that means your ego is very actively controlling your life.
Yeah.
And you basically like an animal. You live in survival, fight or flight, or you basically you only focused on what's the best for you. You cannot actually think about how we can do good things for everyone. And that's the difference. Like we're not going. Let's not touch the spiritual ego topic because it's going to make things complicated. But it's basically the main thing we do here in this life, I believe, is we learning how not to be animal and how to become human. Or there is a very good I forgot a long time ago, but it's basically what Yeshua, or Jesus, as most people know, he represent. He showed how to he said his bride is a soul. So he basically, the main idea is to marry the spirit and the soul, and allow the spirit kind of raise up the soul to the experience of what it is to be a real human. Hence how to be, just to be, and everything is provided, and everything is provided for that. But because we live in this animal instincts, that's what we create. We create all of this conflict, all of this pain, all of this judgment, and that's the challenge.
Yes. And with that understanding, if you say, like, someone's like, okay, I think I'm probably in the lower states of consciousness. I'm pretty sure my nervous system is fried. I'm constantly in fight or flight. And yes, 90% of my thoughts are about my needs. To be honest, some people might not be willing to admit it, but if they are brave enough, where to from here?
Well, where we start? That's your question, where we start from there?
Yeah. I always say awareness is the first step, right? So like without awareness, there cannot be any change. So obviously for me, like that is the foundation, is understanding how the ego works, why it's there, accepting it, and also having the courage to look yourself in the mirror at how you contributed to your current life circumstances. And I think this is, once people hit that crucial tipping point, normally when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And at the same time, it might be helpful to hear, okay, like what's the right next step?
Yes, so that's you actually kind of describing same as I put in the book, the method that I introduce people to. ALIM, ALIM. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is to look inward and understand what's actually going on. The main work only starts when we take our attention from the outside to the inside.
Mm-hmm.
How am I feeling? And the main goal is not to try to do kind of this deep analysis, but just simply try to understand like what's going on energetically. Like hence with that's the emotional intelligence is, I think, would be great second step for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to master it, but at least start learning about what you feel, what
Yes.
actually driving your life, what driving
Mm-hmm.
your choices. And that's like the map of consciousness. If
Mm-hmm.
that's where you start from, you start going and like going into those topics a little bit,
Mm.
and that's when the real journey will start open up.
Yes.
Like,
And then you enter.
oh, and then of course there is no unified path.
No.
Everyone will have their separate
Exactly.
path, but
Mm.
it's basically all about the same and leading to the same point eventually. That's the
Mm.
liberation, like when we let go of the control of
Mm.
ego, of our
Mm-hmm.
lives.
Yes. Yes.
When
Yeah.
we stop being animals right now, right,
Mm.
and start be loving human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Emphasis on beings, by the way.
yeah, beings.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To
And
be.
I love that you said that. And I'm so grateful that, we get to have this conversation and that you downloaded and published your book and you created the emotional intelligence oracle cards, because it is exactly what I teach in my work as well. Like everything you're being starts at the nervous system. It's that ego. It's like if you're dysregulated, you got to get that in check first. But then your nervous system is what generates your emotions. So that is such a crucial, important step to begin to, not, as you say, not necessarily master it, but start to understand and have the courage to actually feel those emotions, because that energy is, it's just energy and emotion, and if it's trapped, it's going to just stay stuck. And unfortunately, that's what then feeds the thoughts and beliefs, which then repeats the same patterns, right? And so if we really want to shift it at identity level, we've got to start there first. It doesn't work the other way around. You can't work your way to
Yeah,
a new
absolutely.
reality.
And most people who are very skeptical, if they, like, I suggest to work on that skepticism, and if they are so skeptical, they can do the research and actually find there is a lot of scientific studies that describe that emotion works, like, I think 400 times faster than our mental process.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
means working on that removes the unnecessary thoughts.
Yes.
So that going into this energy, right? Energetic. And
Mm-hmm.
also, like, very beautiful um, example would be like, because our body mostly water,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also proven scientifically that water has memory. So that means everything that we experienced sits there. So
Mm-hmm.
emotion is that trapped frequency that from all the experience, that's what we're dealing with.
Yes.
So ultimately, um, the goal of any spiritual work is to unlearn, not actually learn something new. You have the spirit when you learn the tools, but
Mm-hmm.
then these tools are used to unlearn all the baggage
Yeah.
that you have with you for
Yes.
years and lifetimes, etc. It's going
Mm-hmm.
deeper and deeper into that. But then
Yes.
unlearning is what liberates. This is liberation. That's what all of this great sages they teach.
Mm-hmm.
For many, for a long time, it's always been a secret of yogic traditions. They never speak about unlearning. They always been kind of they would only give it to initiated people to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said yourself, this kind of rogue yogis, they started to
Mm-hmm.
introduce to everyone yoga,
Mm-hmm.
because before only Brahman, only the spiritual people
Mm.
could be initiated to those tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Exactly.
guess from my all of the studies and research, from what I understood, that's why they know very well who is Yeshua. He was actually there in
Mm.
Tibet studying through them,
Mm.
and a lot of them didn't like him because he wanted, and that's what he did, give tools to I think they in Hinduism they call it Shudras is the lowest caste of people, like who should just work.
Like householders.
Like farmers,
Yeah.
householders.
Yeah.
He wanted to give those spiritual tools to the Shudras,
Yeah.
which only belonged before to the highest caste of Brahmans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hence, we are here to now have all the tools, and that's a great awakening. Everyone has access to everything, but at the same time, it's such a big dilemma because now we actually have access to things like this.
Yes.
Like, when I was younger, I could not find things. I had to go to library. I think you remember those times.
Yes, I do.
We didn't have internet. Like, if we could, it was impossible to find something there. You had to go to library, find the books, and spiritual books didn't exist there. So it only would come if someone would somehow give to you. Like, it was very different.
Yes.
But now it's available. It's like fantastic. So a lot of people are scared of AI. It's another big thing. And there is a reason for that. I totally agree with that. There is people who behind it, certain individuals, they have their agenda. Again, right? It's a business, it's a control, etc. But it's again the tool. You can use it for something good. For yourself, for instance.
Exactly.
And then that's what I started to do. Like, I call it a podcast, but what I started to do, I started to get access to the books that I always wanted to read or research. But there are so many books that none of us will have a lifetime to get all of this. So like the other day, like yesterday, I was making this podcast about children's psychology, which I always wanted to learn, but it's very it's like thousands and thousands of pages of very difficult professional language, which like requires a lot of time to actually study. So people dedicate their lifetime to one topic. And I use for myself, I use AI to get onto this book, digest them into the structures that I need, and then in combination give me the knowledge that I can now apply, I can use. And I started to do this podcast with AI, doing them for me, but based on exactly the book. It's not going and hallucinate or create the idea that this is how it works. Like, we notice a lot these days in ChatGPT and other they create misinformation. They just
they're making stuff up all the time.
Making stuff up. So I'm avoiding that. I find what actually can study the book, and just when they give you the summary, they actually make a quote where in the book they found it, so I can double check that it's not just a lie. And that's for me, like when I'm driving the bike around, sometimes I go, let's say, surfing. I need to drive 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, I created this podcast based on 10 books. And I already received the knowledge, what I need from those books to get me, okay, I didn't know that before. That's quite interesting. And then you can even communicate after that more, with AI on that topic. I'm just as example how
I love that.
use it and how it is so useful to have these days to get the right tools.
Exactly.
The biggest reminder is, always it's not only what you know, it's what you apply. So that's always
that's the thing. There's always a big difference, between knowledge and knowing. And I call it like knowing almost with a capital K, because we can consume, and we are in this consumer, society, but everything comes back to, well, what are you going to do with this information? And with that in mind, like the signature question that I ask every guest that comes onto the podcast, and I would also love to ask you, to our listeners, if there was just one thing that would resonate with them long after this episode ends, what do you wish that one thing would be?
If there is a challenging question or uncertainty about things or decisions, always ask yourself, is my decision based on fear or based on love? And always choose love.
Yes. 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 That just landed so deeply in my heart as well. Love over fear always. Always, always, always. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That would be already enough to start choosing life every
Mm-hmm.
day. Is it
Mm-hmm.
based on love, fear?
Exactly. Love is, one of the highest frequencies that a human being can embody. Yeah. And it's accessible to us all because we all have someone or something in our life that we love. So no matter, where we are most of our day, it's a familiar sensation. And I'm so incredibly grateful, to have had the privilege of receiving your teachings in our work together in this new chapter as well of your life. And I know you're kind of in this precipice, and what's about to emerge is still kind of really new and fresh. And at the same time, you do have a lot of resources and things people could, either get wisdom from now or find you somewhere. So how can people work with you? How can they find you or find some of your tools if they want to learn more?
Yeah, for those who use Instagram, that's what they can find me.
Mm-hmm.
The name I use there, Spirit of James. It's one to get just one name together. Spirit of James. It's very easy. They can reach out to me anytime. I'm always reply. And it's the same tag name in Telegram if they use Telegram. And that's basically it. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
how they can find from my name, James Stark, book on Amazon. If they want to learn a little bit more about emotional intelligence and understand what map of consciousness is, the book is called the ALIM Method, ALIM. It's 4 letters:
Mm-hmm.
awareness, letting go, intention, mindfulness. That's what it stands for. Yeah, or they can reach out to you and you give them the contact.
Absolutely. I'll also make sure to put all of your links in the show notes. So like we'll link up your Instagram page, your book. I'll link up your podcast as well in case people are like, oh yeah, I would love a book summary in a podcast. I think that's a great idea, by the way, because I also have a list of so many books that I want to read, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to read this in multiple lifetimes. So really, really smart use of AI there. And also, I'm actually really curious if someone wanted to get their hands on your oracle cards, whether / how they could do that.
They can't. I didn't release them.
Mm-hmm.
They only can you experience it from me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There is no yet availability.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the time will come, then will be more demand, more community that's
Mm-hmm.
going to start using them.
Mm.
But it hasn't arrived yet. So
Yes.
let's see.
More of a reason to come see you either in Bali in person or jump on a call and get a
Yeah,
reading. Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
Mm. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I'm honestly
Thank you, Vic.
eternally
My
grateful,
pleasure.
and keep shining your light and your love. And you are our way shower. You are our Aquarius leading the pack. And I know it might be a challenging and lonely road sometimes, being at the front of the line all the time, and yet it is so vitally important. So yeah, from the bottom of my heart,
Right on
thank you.
point. Right on point. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Lots of love, and my only, greatest and best wishes for you as well.
Thank
And
you.
let's be in touch.
This episode was such a pleasure to facilitate and, to reconnect. It's been a while since I have spoken to James, and, we go way back. Like, he's seen what's in my subconscious. So there's not many people who go to that level of intimacy with your monkey mind, let alone your depths of your reality. So it's been really, truly such an honor and privilege to bring his voice, his story, story and his teachings to you. And some of my personal insights and reflections after this conversation are really around, you know, this delicate balance between our physical 3D and this unmanifest, spiritual, maybe a little bit woo 5D reality. And of course, you know, some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Vic, but like here you are selling me the dream on how to get more done in less time so I can achieve my goals with ease. Yeah, absolutely. That is my calling. That is what I came here to do. Because as soon as you can get all those things out of your way that are occupying your monkey mind, you begin to unlock the deeper potentials that have been lying and residing within you. And you see, most people, when they think achievement, they really do confabulate it with material things, material possessions, titles, careers, labels, and all those things. And don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and wanting those things, but there comes a time in your evolution, and that time may be in this lifetime, it may be in a future lifetime, who knows? But there comes a time where those things lose their importance. And I vividly remember, and this is such a funny story. I'm not going to kind of give away too many of the details, but in my corporate experience, for a really, really long time, I wanted a specific award. It was like one of the most rare awards that is ever given out. It's only given to one person. It's only given out once a year. And of course, being the high performer, high achiever, I wanted that thing so bad. And like many years I would get nominated and not get it, and nominated and not get it. And like it was always just like this, you know, like this carrot that got dangled in front of my nose, just close enough, but not quite close enough to reach it. And it drove me for a really long time. And then the funny thing is, you know, I got the award eventually. But by the time I got it, I didn't even want it anymore, because at that point I was sort of on my own spiritual journey, and it lost its importance. And it was such a perfect, profound realization and example of how the things that our ego monkey mind is clasping onto, is holding onto so deeply, are really, they're already there. But the more you want it, the more you're actually repelling it. It's kind of this really interesting dichotomy. So anyways, I say all this because, and this is what I teach inside Efficiency Made Easy. It's like week 1, we start with the why. We start with the identity, because most people are just stuck with running on the hamster wheel, doing, producing, achieving, and they don't even ever ask themselves why. They don't ever ask themselves, is this truly what I came here to do? They don't ask themselves, is this really fulfilling me, like on a deep soul level? And Nietzsche, oh my gosh, I'm going to be butchering this name, Nietzsche. Anyways, this poet who I cannot pronounce, Nietzsche. Why can't I pronounce this word, Nietzsche? Anyway, God, this is like super profound, and yet here I am butchering a poet's name. I'm not even going to try it anymore. A famous poet once said, he who has a strong enough why can bear almost anyhow. And the issue in our modern day-to-day world is we don't spend enough time sitting with the why. We just focus on the how, the do. So if you know, like James in this example, in this episode, feel called to do something, like on a soul level, it's just coming through in this flow state, it's this download, it's like, you know, with a capital K, this is what you are here to do, but you're not getting any response or any traction or anything. It's like, it's slow. Do it anyway. That calling, that inner knowing is there for a reason. Trust it, follow. While people might not yet be ready to hear what you have to say, they will eventually be ready. Because you might, like James, be one of those way showers. And I've got so many examples. You know, I mean, like take even Harry Potter books, right? J.K. Rowling, I think she got declined from like 12 or 14 publishers before she finally found one. That and look at it now. It's like, it's a legacy. You know, my financial coach and mentor, Kate Northrup, she published a book called Do Less. That's also actually a big influence on the work that I do today. And yet when she published it, I think it was like around 2020 or something, it was a little bit too early for its time. People weren't ready yet. And yet now it's like all the hype and people are ready. So you might just be one of those way showers. It might need multiple iterations, just like in my example, like running my own business. Things, were just a little bit harder at the beginning because I needed to adjust course and course correct to find the right trajectory. And the thing is that clarity isn't going to come from sitting on your hands. That clarity is going to come from action. So my invitation to you this week is pick a tool, pick a teacher, pick a strategy, pick something that has been calling your attention. Just start small, start somewhere. Start to get to know your ego. That little monkey mind, those thoughts that keep circling around in your brain. Start to sit with your emotions. Feel. Give them a name. Learn how to discern one from the other. And begin to really be curious about what's going on in your inner world. Not from a place of like judgment or trying to change or control anything. Simply allowing it to be, but bringing conscious awareness to what is. And as soon as you do that, honestly, the possibilities become endless. So here you have it, your episode on transcending the ego so that you can finally discover the truth of who you really are and what you came here to do. And if, like James, you have a story that you would love to share and bring onto this podcast so other people, other incredible, kind-hearted, loving, ambitious humans can get inspired and feel seen, I genuinely believe in this grandiose magnetism of community where when we come together, and you might hear something that you technically have already heard before and you already know, but just the way that person says it or the example they use in their life, it will hit different. And that might just be the catalyst that you need to propel you in the right step. So your story might be that exact catalyst. So if you feel like, hey, you know what, there's something here, send me a DM. I would love to have a chat, talk about perhaps bringing you on the show so that collectively we can elevate our consciousness. We can co-create this beautiful new earth together and truly help more people thrive so that we can all live a healthier, happier life. Until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye for now. How valuable would it be to you to achieve your biggest goals while having it feel easy? You see, for too long, we have been told that you gotta work hard to be successful. Whatever. In my years of navigating entrepreneurship, a full-time university load, and corporate employment, I realized that that is not true at all. And I built it into a system that makes achieving your biggest goals inevitable. A system that makes you absolutely unfreaking stoppable. And for the very first time ever, I am going to be teaching a small, select group of students how to use cyclical alignment, energy management, and high performance structures so that you can finally get more done in less time. So if you are done with urgency and hustle, but you want to keep the success and you'd like to be part of this special training, just join the priority waitlist today. The link is in the show notes below and at viktorialevenberg.com/success. I'll see you inside. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board-certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.